Accepted the preliminary report from his mandate relief team, and unlike its counterpart on Medicaid, this report did not come out with very much fanfare. In fact, it was announced in a press release shortly before 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and if you flip through the report, you can probably figure out why. It only proposes just a few immediate cost-cutting measures while calling for more study of mandates before decisions are made. My next guest was a member of this team. He's NICOM Executive Director Peter Baynes. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Liz.
This is not, the end result is not being received with the same amount of accolades that the Medicaid report was received with, at least even in the governor's circle. The governor didn't have a press conference. He didn't say very much at all. He said, thanks a lot, and we're going to keep working.
Use the term end result. Let's hope this isn't the end result. I don't think it's the end result. I think it's a first step, as they've said. I have to hope it's a first step, because I think the governor, in creating this team, created a historic opportunity for real mandate relief that no governor's ever been able to accomplish. Our members, local officials, are depending on it, so are property taxpayers. So I have to believe there's going to be more coming out of our team. I know we're scheduled to meet again next week and start tackling the real issues, the real mandates that are confronting our members, not talking about possible mandates in the future, which is what the recommendations deal with.
Okay, let's talk about what is in here, and then we'll talk about what isn't in here. What is in here is some ideas about maybe waivers that local governments could apply for to try and get relief from unfunded mandates, and maybe some amending of the WICS law, which I don't know that the impact is going to be felt so widely, because I think, as you were mentioning to me before we got on the air, this was already addressed. The WICS law was amended not so terribly long ago. Is that right?
That's correct. In terms of most of the recommendations deal with the future and prohibiting mandates, new mandates in the future, maybe offering opportunities to get relief from some existing mandates. In terms of reforming existing mandates, there's a new Tier 6 proposal that is similar to the Tier 5 reform from 2 years ago.
In the pension fund you're talking about,
yes,
right?
Yes, in the pension fund, that would create a new class of employees, and their benefits would be more affordable. There's also WICS reform that would be a good thing. We support it, but it's tinkering around the edges for the most part, and our members right now, at least, are not doing a lot of public construction projects, which is what WICS applies to.
Yeah, remind the viewers, just because it's a little bit technical, what WICS
The WICS law just says that for most public construction projects, we as public employers cannot have a single construction contract. We have to have individual contracts with each of the individual contractors, electrical, plumbing,
and
heating.
And they have to be unionized, is that correct?
Under prevailing wage, which is another mandate, yes, they will most likely be unionized. But the problem with WICS is, because they're separate contracts, we as the local government have to coordinate the contractors. There's no general contractor with authority over the subcontractors. We as the local government have to do that. We're not in the position to do that. It leads to delays and cost overruns.
And you can't bid out a job for just $1 million with somebody who says, I'll manage this project for you, and then go back directly to that one person, the way you would if you were going to overhaul your house, per se, right?
That's right.
So you are dealing with the plumber and the builder and the roofer and the guy who's doing your electrical, and trying to keep everybody in line on the budget. It's a difficult thing to do.
Right. And that reform that's in the recommendations of the team, we support it. We support the new Tier 6 pension reform. We support prohibiting future mandates. But we're at such a critical juncture with local governments and the property tax crisis that, like I said, this has to be a first step. There have to be more steps. We're confident that the governor is going to meet the commitment he made to us that there will be real mandate relief in conjunction with the property tax cap. So we have to get back to work as a team to develop real, sustainable mandate relief.
Well, the problem is, there's a couple of problems. First of all, the property tax cap has already passed the Senate, and I've had any number of people sitting around this table saying to me, okay, we understand that there is property tax relief that is necessary in the state. However, if you cut us off and our revenue capability of generating revenue, and then we can't get it from anywhere else, but you keep forcing us to pay things in these unfunded mandates, then we're going to go out of business, right? I mean, that's the problem.
True. I mean, our recommendations for mandate relief focus primarily on pension costs and health insurance, because those two costs are far exceeding the allowed growth in property tax that would be allowed under a tax cap. When you have pension costs going up 20 to 30% a year, health insurance going up 10 to 15% a year, and combined they're going up 4 times more dollar-wise than property taxes would be allowed to go up under a cap. There's a problem. You know, as we said, it's a road to fiscal ruin that we're heading down rapidly.
Well, and another problem is that the unions are not happy when you talk about the creation of Tier 6. They say, there was a statement out last night from CSEA, the largest state workers union, and then NICET, the teachers union, already upset with the governor, with the administration, because of a potential layoffs situation going on with them. They put out a statement saying, we're not okay with the creation of Tier 6. We just had a creation of Tier 5. No. And you have to collectively bargain it. You got to create it and agree with them about it. And they're about to go into a rather contentious bargaining situation. And already just this morning, we have the governor's director of operations, Howard Glazer, saying we're going to start preparing for layoffs, yes. Assuming that we might not get a deal by April 1st.
Well, that shows you the challenge facing our team when there's public employer representatives, public employee representatives. But the fact of the matter is the Tier 5 reform that was done 2 years ago, yes, it has multi-billion-dollar savings over a 30-year period, but the large majority, I'm talking 90 to 95% of the savings that will inure to taxpayers are 25 years down the road. We may not get to 25 years down the road if we don't rein in pension costs now, rein in health insurance costs by making sure all public employees contribute to their health insurance, which is not the case at the local government level. It is at the state level. And we're just asking for local government employees to have that same requirement, the same level of contributions for their health insurance that the state requires of their employees.
Okay, so what's not in this report that a lot of people were hoping for are some very sticky wickets, like the Triborough Amendment, for example, and the Taylor Law. And there has been some sort of language, some nice talk about going back at these difficult issues. Why do you think, and I'll come right out and say it, why do you think this team punted on such difficult issues?
Well, I think what happened was we as a team have been acting kind of as a venue to provide fact-finding for the governor's staff. The chair of the task force or the team is Larry Schwartz. We provided input, data, and the governor's staff took what we provided them and put together an initial set of recommendations. I think because of the tight deadline of March 1st, they decided let's go with the less controversial proposals in the first round of recommendations, which is what we saw yesterday coming out. But now we don't have an excuse anymore. We have to tackle the big things you referred to, the Triborough Amendment, binding arbitration, employee benefit costs. Nobody's going to be happy when we have to tackle those things, but actually I'm wrong. The taxpayers will be happy because it's the only way we're going to get the property tax under control in this state.
Well, and businesses will be happy, and
those
will be
who
happy.
pay property taxes,
Sure.
that's the crisis we're trying to address.
Do you think that they just felt maybe that there are so many battles going on so many fronts, and the governor is really trying to change the way things are done in Albany? He has managed to change the way the budget battle traditionally takes place by setting up the Medicaid team, which I think a lot of people thought was very successful in neutralizing these two giants, the Greater New York Hospital Association and SEIU 1199. Not everyone's pleased with the report. I think in the end result, not everybody's going to be pleased with anything, probably, because all of this stuff is very difficult.
Yes.
But you could potentially deal with Taylor and Triborough and start a major fight if they had done that.
I think you may be right, and you know, I don't know what the timing decisions are in the Capitol in terms of what issues to push when, but I could understand that the timing might not have been right in this session to push some of the labor-related reforms we're seeking here. And I can accept that, but what we're urging and our members are urging is before this session is out, and sooner rather than later, and certainly before a property tax cap is put in place, there has to be a willingness finally by the governor and the state legislature to tackle the mandates that force property taxes higher in the state. It's just, we can't put it off any longer.
And there's been some criticism of, and again, I mean, the way this was driven was by the administration. And you served on this team, which met, I think, twice, right? It met publicly twice, and then you had a phone.
And we had a teleconference for our initial meeting, and there were many, many one-on-one meetings between the stakeholders and the governor's staff to do the fact-finding I alluded to and to flesh out our recommendations. So, I mean, all those recommendations are still out there under consideration. It's just a matter now of the team getting together and seeing what we can agree on. And if we can't agree on real reforms because of our opposite positions, then we're hopeful the governor will say we, the administration, are going to take what we think needs to be done and advance it as part of the budget process.
Well, certainly the administration has not been shy about that. I mean, has advanced a number of things that are not popular. Teacher evaluation system, for example. I mean, other things. It was coming right out to say we might have to lay people off. We're going to start going down that path simultaneously as you begin contract negotiations with the unions, and you come clearly to the table with a position, and nobody thinks you're joking around when you do that.
Yes. You know, and I think this governor has shown, and as Attorney General he showed, you know, he has a fairly narrow agenda on big items, and when he lays them out there, he's focused on them and is committed to getting them done. So, you know, I believe that this is a first step, and there will be the pursuit of more significant mandate relief. You know, our members and taxpayers are depending on it, and I think it will happen. It's not going to be easy, but we're hopeful that it will happen.
Okay, so you'll be meeting again next week. We will be catching up with you. I want to thank you for coming in, Peter.
Okay,
It's
thank
good
you,
to
Liz.
see you.
You too.